Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about improper fractions and mixed numbers. So today we're going to talk about converting mixed numbers into improper fractions. So a couple of definitions we want to go over first. A proper fraction is the kind of fraction that we've basically been dealing with this whole time. So it's when your numerator is smaller than your denominator. So proper meaning like that it's basically following the rules. So a normal fraction or a proper fraction is going to be where the numerator is smaller than your denominator. For an improper fraction, it's going to be the one that's kind of breaking the rules. So my numerator is going to be bigger than my denominator. So in this case, I have 9/4. So that's going to be bigger than our denominator. Our 9 is bigger than our denominator of 4. And for a mixed number, you're going to have a whole number and a proper fraction next to each other. And when you write your whole number, the whole number part is going to be as tall as your proper fraction so that it's not confusing that it's part of the fraction or that it's a different number. So you want to make sure your whole number is the same height as your regular part of your fraction. Okay, so if we think about our fractions, and we draw them. So let's say I have the fraction 3 1/2. So 3 1/2. So if I were to draw 3 1/2, I'd have 1, 2, 3 holes, correct? And then this last one would be a half, right? So if I were to shade these in, this equals 3 holes and 1/2. So now what I'm going to do is we're actually going to convert this into a improper fraction. Let me move my board down a little bit. There you go. You were getting a glare off of the light. So 3 1/2. So if we're going to make this into an improper fraction, what we want to do is we're now going to chop these all into halves. So we're going to keep our size the same, but if I chop these into halves, the question becomes, how many halves do I have all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 halves all together. So my equivalent fraction as an improper fraction is going to be 7 halves. Now, we don't always want to have to draw this out because if you get something like 11ths or 9ths or something like that, it makes it a little hard to chop them up. So we're going to talk about how to actually make this happen with just using our math skills. So I'm going to erase my notes over here for just a second. So I've got my little math dude, some people have called it a math baby. And I usually give him a little sprout. And so here's what the math baby is going to be thinking. Okay, so this is what you're thinking when you're doing this. Because step 1, when changing a mixed number into an improper fraction, step 1 is going to be to multiply the whole number by the denominator. So that's step 1. Then for step 2, you are going to add the numerator. And then step 3, you are going to keep the denominator, I'm running out of room, the same. Okay, so Math Baby is trying to think about 3 halves and how can we change this into 7 halves to prove it over here. So we're going to use these steps. So we're going to multiply the whole number, which is 3, times the denominator, which is 2. So Math Baby is thinking 3 times 2 equals 6. And then for step 2, we're going to add the numerator to that. So plus 1 equals 7. So that's going to be our numerator. And then our denominator stays the same. So this is our denominator here. It's a 2, so the 2 is going to be here. So my little math baby here is going to know that it's 7 halves. Now, if we look over here to this example side, so this is the math of it, and this is kind of showing you how and why it works. So if we think about this, step 1, multiplying the whole number times the denominator. So 3 times 2. If we look at what we split up here, we have 3 wholes, and we're splitting them each into 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's why we do this. So this would be 6 plus 1 extra half, which is where this adding the numerator comes in. So now I have a total of 7, and my denominator stays the same. I'm talking about halves all the way through. So I'm not going to change my denominator. It's just going to remain the same. Okay? So we're going to keep Math Baby over here to kind of remind us how we're doing our problems, but then we're going to do a couple other sample problems on here. So let's do, all right. Let's start out with, let's do 9 1/5. Okay, so we're going to multiply the whole number times the denominator. So 9 times 5 is 45, plus our numerator is 46 over, and our denominator stays the same as 5. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do 6 1/2. So again, we're going to multiply the whole number times the denominator. So 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 would be 13, and my denominator stays the same. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do 7 2/5. So now we're going to, same thing, multiply the whole number in the denominator. So 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 is 37, and my denominator remains the same. Okay, let's try another one. How about 6 4/7? Okay, so once again, we've got 6 times 7, which is 42, because whole number times denominator. 6 times 7 is 42. 42 plus my numerator is going to be 46 over 7. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do, let's do this one. Let's do 7 6/7. So 7 6/7. So again, we're going to do whole number times denominator. 7 times 7 is 49. 49 plus 6 is going to be 55 over 7. Okay, guys, so that is improper fractions. And sorry, that is mixed numbers to improper fractions. So again, same thing as before, the same kind of topic that we're doing before. This is all going to be equivalent fractions. So we're talking about a new way to look at equivalent fractions. So if we have our mixed number, this is how you're going to change them into improper fractions that are equivalent. Okay, so what I need you to do now, the video is over. So head back to Google Classroom, check out the board notes. You can work on the worksheet and the fast check. Turn those both in when you're done with both of them. And you're welcome to check into our optional office hours and check out any optional work that you want to do. But until next time, have a good one.